evening, Somers, and welcome to the Somers Town Board meeting, work session, Thursday, February 6th. So if you would now please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and be seated.
Yes, sir.
Okay, our first order of business tonight is public comment. I'll make a motion to open public comment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
Do you want to
Anyone
do-
here for public comment?
Nope.
Okay. As always, the line would form to my left.
That's right.
Okay,
Don't everybody rush the mic at once?
seeing no one and hearing no one for public comment, I'll make a motion to close public comment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved. Okay, our next order of business is Parks and Recreation. And approve the going out to RFP to replace safety fencing at Reese Park Playground per memo dated January 29th from Steve Ralston, Superintendent of Parks and Recreation. So I'm gonna make a motion that we approve that.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so moved.
Still on.
Safety first, as always.
Yeah.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is under Town Board. We have Don Bleasdale of our Somers Energy Environment Committee with us this evening. Don, if you'd like to join us.
Don.
What's up, Don? Good.
Hey, Don, how are you, man?
So I attended the Sustainable Westchester Board meeting, I guess 2 weeks ago, and putting forward their initiatives for the year, some of which are carried over from last year. One that our committee will meet again on Monday, but they have a community solar initiative, which pretty much seems to me like you can sign up and basically you're going to get credits towards the supporting of solar farms in New York State. Long story short, whether you like solar, hate solar, don't care, you save 10% on your electric bill, which seems to be a pretty good deal. if you sign up for it.
How do you sign up for that?
As far as I know, you go on Sustainable Westchester's site. They have there's a whole video. But basically, you go in there. I think you have to put in like an automatic checking account deduction credit or something. And so Nina Orville, who you know from the Solarize campaign, she's the director for Sustainable Westchester. She's sort of in charge of it. I don't think that's going to be like a big campaign rollout, but I spoke to her yesterday. She just gave a presentation somewhere which she was going to share with me. So I don't know if we would roll it out in a bigger way or to try to get out to the townsfolk.
Just a point of clarification, though, this is residential solar, put it on your home.
No. For this is, I mean, the genesis. There's a couple things. There's a push in New York State, obviously, from the governor and all the way down, to harvest solar farms in New York State. So basically, you're supporting those farms.
So I get my bill and I go in and I say I support the solar farm.
You sign up for this, and
Okay.
and there's a credit that will go on your electric bill.
Does it cost me anything up front?
No, and there's no. And I'll get more information, but
Because I'm just wondering, I don't understand why signing up for it.
I think what it becomes is your
Credits.
energy service providers, your ESCO. And that this would give replace whatever is now. So if you signed up with, what are we on, Direct Energy now?
for the
So if you were on
CCA.
that, either renewable, some people are renewable, some people not, this would either replace that or would supplement.
No,
I'm
no.
not sure.
So I asked her specifically at this meeting. I said, if you're in the CCA, which we are in Somers, if you opt in.
Community choice aggregation.
Right. And I don't know what the data is and how many residents are in it, but
Oh, overwhelming.
Lot.
which
All
makes
of them.
sense because it's a good deal.
All of
You're
them.
saving money. It doesn't conflict with it at all. If you're in, it's a separate thing.
Has to be a credit someplace.
So-
Well, the credit will go on your, I think on your checking account.
But what do they do for that credit?
What is who do?
How do I, if I want to sign up for it, I mean,
Right.
what's my commitment to this?
Basically signing up, I
Just
think.
sign up?
Yeah.
And you
I
get a
think
credit
You're gonna save 10% on.
just to
your co-
sign up?
Yeah, I don't know what I'm signing up for, though.
You're signing up to support your.
I'm supporting, so basically, am I giving my proxy to somebody to then support solar farms?
Yeah,
They can put it in your backyard.
no.
Then I'm not
right.
signing up.
Right, no, if you have solar like I do on my roof, you cannot be a part of it.
Oh, so if you already have solar, you can't be, but these are specifically for farms, which you see when you're going up every highway. I run into them all the time.
Right, and they're trying to, right, and for all the people that in the Solarize campaign wanted to get solar and couldn't, this is a way to say you're gonna be a part of
Yeah, but I guess
supporting
I'm with
solar.
Tony, and I know you gotta get more information. I just don't
It's
understand.
gotta be, it
Yeah,
has to supplement. It
I
has
have, but even so, I'm signing up for it. I'm getting a credit for just signing up. I don't know what my signing up enables somebody to do. I don't know if it says.
Well, I think it's,
create energy, send it back to the grid.
I
give you
think
credit.
it's, I think it's
That's what
through,
about.
I think it's through New York Power, which is obviously funded through New York State government, and it's one of their initiatives to try to develop and expand
But
communities.
power is sort of on the federal side, transmission is on the state side. So I'm, you know,
Well, I'll get you more.
Yeah, get more
get
information.
more
But
information.
let-
Look,
let's-
the
right,
concept sounds
right.
great, but.
I just
no,
want to sign up for it, then all of a sudden, 5 years
Oh,
down the
no, no.
road, I'm like,
But-
oh, yeah, you
But let me just
approve
say this, though. If you're in, if you look at your NICEAG bill,
Right.
there's an SBC charge.
That's a systems benefits charge.
Yeah,
right.
essentially, that, whatever you're paying there is going, you know, north.
Well, it's going to NYSERDA. and
Yeah, it's going to
basically-
NYSERDA to
right.
essentially subsidize everything that's happening in this.
Which I would
So-
argue is a very good use of.
Oh, that
funds.
started in the '70s under Rockefeller. It's one of the great things that they've done is a couple of pennies.
The
that
gas
creates
shortage and all
the-
that, right.
That creates the ability to do the research on all these other energy things. It's one of the best things I think the New York State legislature did.
And directly fund job training and
Oh, yeah.
incentivizing and
Yeah.
all kinds of.
So what's this?
So,
then?
so I will get you more information, and I mean, unless they're misleading me, I said, is this,
No,
and Warren Lucas was there, as was Chris Burdick, and they said.
They're not
they-
misleading you. It's just-
No, and I will get you, it seems like a no-brainer to say, I can sign up and I'm.
Well,
gonna
that's what I'm
save
saying,
10%.
but just,
So we have Sustainable Westchester. And
Right.
We were members.
We're
and-
part of it.
and what
Right.
have- And Nina, did a presentation. I think Surratt was there as well.
I did see Surratt,
So
yes.
she gave me an overview. We had someone come in from Heritage, I believe, with a flyer that was soliciting to join a solar farm. Now, this wasn't sustainable, outside of Sustainable Westchester. So I went through the solicitation, and it said a concern on the page 2, after you join and after you're getting, the credits and reduction, it said, is you pay solar farms 5% of your solar credits. So, you always look at a deal
you
and,
go.
and say,
there's the catch, but
this
technically
is
it's
not
part
the
of your
sustainable-
credit.
This is,
so if you
I
get
get letters
10%
occasionally
credit,
too.
You give them
About
5% of the 10%. Okay, well, that makes sense now. Now I understand
But
what
who's
you're
giving
signing up for.
5% of what?
Private company is getting that.
in other words, you're joining these solar farms that generate all this electric back into the grid.
Right, and then they're gonna rebate us for supporting that?
You're gonna get a credit. If you get a credit for, $100, $5 of that will go to, so you're still making out. I mean, 5% seems kind of small, but I guess they have a way of.
But who's giving me the $100?
You're nice, right? No, it's off your bill.
I understand, but
But
somebody's funding
somebody's
it.
approving it, yeah.
Somebody's funding, it's being funded some way.
Well, I'm sure New York Power, I think which is probably a subsidiary of NYSERDA, I'm guessing, is got funding to help support this and subsidize them. I'm
Just
guessing.
understand it better, I mean, that's all.
Yeah, if we can find out what you're saying is, who's getting
I
the
love,
5%?
does, guys down there know, because I mean, I know those guys. as well.
Who's giving us the credit,
Well, no,
who's giving the 5%?
Right.
So if we can find that out.
And I didn't have a conversation with Warren Lucas, but he was there, and I said, it seemed like a no-brainer. He looked at me and he said, yeah, so
Yeah, I hate those
I'll trust-
no-brainers though, because
Uh,
sooner or
no,
later
but
they
I'll
come
try-
back to bite you in the butt.
Right. Well, no, I
understand
understand.
it.
There's no. You can cancel any time. It's like the CCA. You're not obligated or signing a contract.
I don't know. My
So-
gym told me that too.
What's that? Skeptical crowd we
I
have
think I'm
here
still a
tonight.
member.
I think it's
I know,
to
and I know,
supplement
right.
the energy produced
Right.
in New York State, the aggregate of it, there's a percentage that goes
Well,
into the aggregate.
and the good-
And they then credit the individual homeowner. Doesn't mean the energy into your house
Is-
is
no,
solar.
you're tied
It's
into
a
the grid.
percentage of the aggregate.
Right.
And that's what they credit you for.
Right.
Because you want to increase the amount of renewable energy sources.
Right, and the good thing
That's what they're doing
is
there.
also, I think that you, and I'm not sure exactly how this works, but that you are, by supporting this initiative, you are supporting farms developing solar resources, which takes more pressure off of the carbon grid, which is,
That's the goal of
So,
all of it, sure.
so it's a cleaner energy.
But I'd go through this rather than a private company, because all those,
Yes.
so many people have gotten, and we've seen those calls into Rick's office, and all of us have gotten those calls from neighbors. Hey, I just got a thing. They'll lower my energy bill if I go with them. All I gotta do is give them that number on my bill. Once you give them that specific number, they are allowed then to change the supplier, and you may come in a lower rate, and then it goes up, and we've seen that in town. They beat a rate low, but you're signed up, and then it goes higher. So I think these initiatives, in my opinion, that come through Sustainable Westchester, through NYSERDA, through New York State, are always much safer than the private companies that sometimes, at least, can be a little bit shaky.
Right. I will come back next time with more specific stuff, but I think seems to be a pretty much a no-brainer-ish
So
to save 10% on your electric bill if
once
that's the case.
The town board can wrap their head around the offer.
Right.
We could put it up on our website, because when that person came in with that flyer from, not Sustainable Westchester,
Yeah.
went through it,
Yes.
okay, wow.
Well,
This is a no-brainer,
Yes.
until I ran across that, on the back of that flyer on the bottom, afterwards, this is what happens.
well, my mother lives in Katona. She's 86, very, very active. She got into an ESCO, right, that saved money initially, but she just happened years ago, and then I looked at her bill, and she was paying like almost double. I said, you're getting,
Yeah.
because she didn't realize it. So you got to be careful of the fine print and all that, but I think
No
with
doubt.
Sustainable Westchester's backing, they're not going to be doing something that's
I
fly by
would
night.
think so. But I
So,
think that Tom should be in charge of researching all things that might bite us in the butt.
Yeah, well,
He's in charge.
believe me, I've gotten it enough, so I'm probably pretty good at it.
Give Dan a,
Oh, my.
Dan, what,
give
Welsh?
Dan, I mean, I've speak to him a while.
Yeah.
We'll give him a call together.
I'll send you
I'm
over to
interested in-
Dan.
There, I spoke to you.
Anything on the decommission
With a
of
pillow for his
What's that?
butt. Yeah.
the nuclear plant? Any discussion
Oh,
on that?
no, but I know.
Okay, all right. What else do you have?
So the other,
Sound like a talk show. So what else you got tonight? Huh? What's going on?
Break for commercial.
so another kind of big, I think, statewide initiative is for electric vehicles and infrastructure for that. So there's, I think, $250 million put aside. The first round is going to be $40 million to airport hubs, getting chargers. They have these fast chargers, which are 15 times faster than the regular ones. The
Superchargers.
DC chargers, right? And their goal is, so the first initiative, which has $40 million in funding, which I'm not, obviously there's going to be divvied out. I don't know how they make those decisions yet. But interstate fast chargers, right? So on some of the major highways, throughway, airport charging hubs, and then they want to have EV model communities, which looks interesting. I don't know how you become an EV model community, but that might be something we could pursue grant money and funding. So the DC direct chargers, 15 times faster, potential to charge in 10 minutes for a 200-mile range.
That's pretty good.
Another big part of the first phase is to ease range anxiety, which is basically worrying that I'm going to be stranded on the road somewhere. But I drive around and I see a lot of Teslas, so they
I love it. Range anxiety.
Yeah,
Put that into the
it's a health phenomenon now.
Is that covered?
Oh, it's a psychological condition.
I
Yeah.
know, I'm just, I gotta get home.
So, so they're looking to put in 150 kilowatt chargers at a target interval of 30 miles apart. So like on 684, maybe one at the beginning, one at the end. Make
That'd
So
be on
did they
the-
talk
on the
about
main
how you're gonna
roads.
pay for that? You put your credit card? at-
Well, no, right, pricing,
30 cents per
pricing
kilowatt?
to be announced,
For solar power.
right, but they also said 80% of most charging for electric cars done at home, right? So, and if you have solar on your roof, as I do, you could use the solar on your roof to charge your car. So there's that kind of thing. So, and they said since they've had this initiative, there's been an average rebate for buying the electric vehicles of like $1,000. A lot of them are in Long Island, but they said there's 20% are in our region.
Awesome.
Still available, those rebates?
I think there's still, I think there is still
Thought they
some
ran out.
monies.
Oh, that'd be good.
But, so that's, once again, I just sort of saw this actually in an article in a Dutchess County newspaper. So I'm going to look into it more and see what kind of funding we can try to get, to try to get on the list and try to get some of this infrastructure for charging stations. And
Yeah.
I know we have a few in town, right? We have one up at
We have
near
one a couple
Chili's.
here,
one here.
but they're not
Street,
superchargers.
Chili's.
Right, so that's the next
Right.
generation, I guess.
We
Well, that's what
actually
the
have an
Teslas
ICERTA
call.
grant that we
Right.
have 2 charging stations that are covered under the grant. One, we're gonna upgrade our
Your
plug-in over here.
Right.
And then have one over at,
The police station? Or the?
by the police station, right? Because we have 2 electric vehicles in the fleet. One the building department uses and one nutrition.
The cat-
Okay.
fleet.
They're not completely electric. They were completely
They're hybrid.
They're
hybrids.
hybrid.
Hybrids.
I got a hybrid because of the range anxiety.
You did? See that? Well, you know, for people, for like a building inspector, well, like, I mean, how far do they drive? on any
Yeah, no,
given
if you
day?
just drive
right
And then,
down,
right, for
great.
certain vehicles, it's.
No, if you,
Oh, yeah.
for commuting,
Yeah.
you commute
But
a couple, you know,
the
100
Tesla
miles or
has
whatever.
200,
150,
300
plug it in
miles.
when you overnight.
And I will tell you, I was in a Tesla
Right.
that was traveling from the east coast to the west coast of Florida.
Got to map out their route, I'm
And
sure.
on Alligator Alley, we ran out of fuel.
Oh, no.
And what we learned from that is 4 guys, 4 golf bags, with the climate control set at 70, going 90.
Use a lot of.
Doesn't work.
That's not optimum conditions for a
Bad
Tesla.
combination.
Bad combination, right.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. Well, I had the opportunity to drive a Tesla last week. It's,
What'd you think?
it's pretty awesome. Oh, my
They
God,
hug the
it's-
road really nicely, because the way the
It's,
weight.
it's
They have all
just-
those charging stations, excuse me, up in Danbury.
Yeah.
too. They
Yeah.
got that whole row of
Yeah,
them.
wall.
yeah.
That you just put your Tesla in there and
I
obviously.
mean, it's
Over in
complete.
Yorktown, there's a whole bank.
Yeah.
Always there, just like that.
Where is
I'm not
that?
talking 5.
Where?
But the Dunkin' Donuts, right off 35.
Right,
I mean,
okay.
there has to be 15 of them.
And now, what is it, I have no idea what it costs, like even the ones up at, near Chili's up there, is it, I don't know how they even
I
pay
don't know,
for
I got a
it.
hybrid.
You have a hybrid suit?
I don't
Right.
have to plug it in. No
So-
range anxiety.
Right. So anyway, so New York State is investing a lot in this, and I think it's a good thing, and if we can get some stations, I'm
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
look into the EV
I mean, most
model.
people can handle it, you know, with an overnight situations, when you go on a long extended trip, and
Then you
so
need to-
and you need quick charging along the interstate highways.
The
and so
range
on.
anxiety builds when you go on a long trip,
That
for
is-
sure.
But that is a federal issue if you want to reduce consumption of oil in the country. You're going to have to build the infrastructure.
Of course.
Tesla's trying to do it themselves.
Of course.
For theirs, but, you know, if you can't fill it up, if you're going to be in Alligator Alley hanging out with Roland, you know, you may want to make sure you got enough,
Yeah.
every 30 miles on the interstates
thought we
probably would
did.
be a good thing. you know?
Right, that's their goal.
That's funny.
It wasn't funny then.
I wouldn't be getting out of my car in Alligator Alley. You know, those fences are pretty high down there.
He had his driver with him just beating out the alligators. Yes.
So,
golf club.
Yeah, that's it. right?
one other thing so Mary Beth Murphy sends her best, because I went down to Hastings on Hudson. She introduced me to the building inspector there, very nice guy, who, as you know, they've had on the books a green building code since I think 2012. So I wanted to get more information on how they did it, what it's been like for them. And I met with Charles Minazzi, I think is his name, for about an hour and a half. Some good results. And I also, in the last couple of weeks, met with the Boniellos to talk to them about their new development going on down there. Their units they're building there got geothermal,
Geothermal, yeah,
well done.
right.
They would meet that green building code, right? So they're building to higher than that standard. And actually, the
And how would
buildings,
that benefit us or them or the, the green? Does that get subsidies or you just,
who, the-
well, the green building code, I mean, you're just saying, is that an expression of what our practices should be? Or is it an expression of how to
Benefits
get
the world.
subsidies?
well, I would say a bit more than that. To build, if you're building new, and I've worked in construction for 25 years in various phases, it makes sense to build the best, most high-performing building you can.
Right.
Now, it costs a little bit more, but Boniello's buildings, which are going to average 750 grand, right-ish, to 2,500 square foot.
Yeah.
But he said those units compared to a non-renewable based energy are going to be, his utility costs will be a third of what they are. So if you look at a third of $5,000-6,000, I don't know, on a yearly basis, you're going to be saving $4,000 a year times 10, that's 40 grand. Did you spend more than 40 grand to get it? Maybe you did, maybe the return is 10 years, but your building's gonna perform better because it's gonna hold its heat, hold its cool. It makes sense. To me, it's smarter building, right? If you can show the return.
Why not use the warmth from the earth?
Well, right, and
Circulate
although
through your house.
the building inspector in Hastings seemed to think that geothermal could have issues because if the wells fail, which they can, and there have been some situations with these builds where can't get parts. So there are the basic with any building. I think the basic starting point is to have a good envelope, meaning it's well insulated all around, doesn't leak air. And once you do that, which is getting back to the Energize program, was trying to do that, right? Once you do that, you need less energy to heat and cool the house, right? That's the kicker, to have a well-performing house. So, in addition, I found out from Dan Welsh at the board meeting, New York State is promoting a stretch code, which they're trying to basically move in that same direction to try to get everybody to try to get along and do that. So I'm compiling a bunch of information, and we'll probably next month.
You'll come back.
Yeah, I'll come back and I'll lay out this, and there's ways of phasing it in, there's ways of doing it, but I think if your two biggest builders, Boniello and Ken Carney, has lead, he's probably doing the same thing. So the two biggest builders are building to a standard that would meet that green building code. So,
Okay.
so that's
That's a good
Great.
update from our Energy and
Yes.
Environment Committee.
Thanks, Don.
I've been busy.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
You got it.
Good work.
Appreciate you.
Awesome. Let's increase his
It's a lot.
pay.
What's that? Yeah.
Double.
A bonus, maybe?
Let's say, if you,
Bonus zero, nice.
Thanks again, Don.
that's it. An increase on zero is
Yeah,
zero.
only double.
Jesus.
Tom gives us speech anxiety. He speaks, we get anxious.
I don't blame you. That's good. I keep you on your toes.
So, yeah, maybe we can do some follow-up with Nina Orville from Sustainable Westchester. I mean, if that's something the board's comfortable with promoting, we can put it up on our website. But you, excuse me? Yeah. Okay, sorry. I got this in the way. So, once we're more comfortable with that offering that Sustainable Westchester has, we can promote it via our website. But you will, as an ISEG customer, you're gonna get the solicitation from this other company in the mail. And I would just.
More than one. I've gotten them too.
Oh,
Oh,
my
got a
gosh.
couple of them?
Yeah.
So just be wary of the back page under what happens after you're a customer. Afterwards,
They can switch it.
Yeah, many of them get you low, say, hey, we're gonna cut it by this much, but they don't guarantee you how long. And then, once you're in, like Don's mom, who pays really, who watches, how much is that each kilowatt hour? I know it's a point something. And, so that's why people don't really realize that they're reeling in.
It's not only when you get in, it's sort of, they may give you a period, and then when it expires, if you're not on it to either get in or out or whatever, it rolls over into something that
Right,
is
exactly.
punitive. And before you understand what's taking place,
Yeah.
It's cost you something.
Okay. So our next item is town markers follow-up discussion. So mid-year last year, we had architect Phil Cherandini come in and give us a proposal for stone markers. As I recall, we kind of got excited about memorializing the town in this fashion. So I contacted him this week to say, hey, we still have an interest in looking into these stone markers. And he said he's collecting financials together. These things are 15, if they're 12 feet, with an elephant medallion, the town of Somers, and the year it was established. If you do more than 2, you get a break on the price. So he will be coming in with a proposal for him to, he's gonna mock up something that we can kind of get a feel of what it looks like. He said, he said, yeah, I'll get a piece of styrofoam and but if this thing is like 10 to 12 feet tall, he goes, that's gonna be kind of hard to do, so maybe you'll have a scaled down version to show the board, or maybe put out somewhere to look at. So I just wanted to let you know that I haven't forgotten about
When do you think that'll happen?
Mark and,
No, do you think it'll be in the next few months?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, within the next few months, yeah. I had a follow-up with him, very busy man, but, I said, look, the board, you piqued the board's interest, now give us a proposal that we can act on.
I think some of that, you want whatever it is to look real nice, makes the town look good. It celebrates your historical heritage. I have some history people here tonight. Cost, of course, is always
Right.
a factor, and some of it was expensive. So I'd be interested in seeing what it would be and if there are other alternatives.
Yeah, well,
So I'll look forward
we've
to
been
it.
slowly losing our signage in town, so,
Is there?
yeah,
It's all wood and
and we're missing, the down.
deteriorates.
So,
So okay.
the discussion is, do we do, I would venture to say if these get installed, we wouldn't have to worry about them, nor would generations to come have to worry about them.
I would agree.
So,
All right, cool, thanks.
okay, so our next agenda item is Old Bet replacement. I'm gonna ask our historian and his historical members to join us at the table. So, as they're coming up, I'll just kind of briefly state what the issues are. Our historic
Yes.
old bet on our monument out front has been there since 1935. I think this rendition of it.
Came down for a little bit.
Yeah. So it's been down a number of times to get repaired. But it's just so many repairs that can sustain it.
Did it get knocked down one day?
Yeah. No, someone hit the.
A car drove into it.
There was a medical emergency.
Right.
A medical
Just gave her a good shake. But, so there's an interest with the Historical Society to replace the old bet with a bronze version. True to form would be basically a replica of what is out there. So what is being proposed comes at not a cheap cost. So basically we asked the Historical Society to kind of take the lead with our town historian to form a committee to fundraise. The issue is if the town took this on, we would have to go out to the bidding process. We do have a sculpture that did the Richard Somers bust in the cemetery. And he would be the preferred artisan that would work on the bronze statue. So why don't you, someone from the Historical Society or Doris, just give us,
Well-
what are your plans?
Well, as town historian, one of my jobs is to keep and to preserve the history and check out buildings and to check out statues and things we have. And Old Bed, of course, to me is the symbol, along with the Elephant Hotel, of the town. So when it came to our attention that we needed to look at what was going on physically with the elephant, we started to discuss it a little bit amongst members of the Historical Society, and we felt that there was a need to make it known to your board and to other boards that it needed to be rectified. We needed something new, all right? But it's the cost. And so there is no plan in sight yet because there is no exact money at the beginning. So you can't really sign contracts and you need a plan, all right, which we wanted to talk to you a little bit about tonight. We did go to, Emil Antonaccio is the president of the Historical Society. And Emil and I did go to the Parks and Rec Board because unbeknownst to a lot of people, the elephant statue is in one of the parks in Somers. A lot
I
of
didn't
peop-
know that.
A lot of people
Yeah, I
don't
didn't know that
realize
either.
that when Bailey gave that land went, let's say, from the Elephant of the Hotel, okay, the Elephant Hotel, all the way over to St. Luke's Church. It was like a meadow. And so unfortunately, the traffic began to get, out of control a little bit because you would ride right in front of the Elephant Hotel. There were no yield signs. You took your life in your hands to cross 4 lanes. So they restudied it, and now the road is placed where it is. It goes through the park, but it is situated on the park, in a park. Parks and Rec are not just responsible for football, they're also responsible for parks. So we went and explained that to them at their board meeting, and they listened to Emil and I, and then they met again, and there was an offer of $20,000 to begin the process. But you see, in order to begin the process, we felt that Luigi Badia, who is the sculptor in town, who did the Richard Somers bust in the park, you need to have something to show people. And Luigi spent a lot of time, because Emil had spoken with him, going back and looking at the design and preparing a prospectus, basically, of renderings and things. Now, he hasn't formally been asked because there is no contract, because there really is no money, right? Yes. Now, do you want to add more to it and bring us up to date as to where we are? Because
Well, this, excuse me, was generated from, I'm sorry, I have laryngitis tonight, so
Pull the mic close.
bear with me. But anyway, it's an idea the society had because it came to our attention. And really, Emil wanted to get a sense of what this is going to cost before we came to you, and before we even thought, well, maybe this is an idea we can tackle. Like any project, you want to have some sense of what the scope is. So he went to Historic Properties Board, and he has a scope, has an idea of what it might cost going to, again, to Luigi and coming back, and that's pretty much where we are. We don't have any proposal, we don't have anything,
Yeah.
we just wanted to get a
But
feel
Just
of,
a couple of
The cost in
questions.
general, I know at the meeting, the
Right.
20,000 is just for the
Just
first
as
step,
the
correct?
sculpture.
I don't know.
See, I thought, I was
Yes,
under the
honestly, God, I
impression,
don't
have it
know.
in we have it
There's-
for discussion amongst us. We don't have a piece of paper that we can point to. Emil spoke with Luigi,
okay.
and he gave him an estimate, because then you have to call the foundries.
Well, but the way
Yeah.
I understood it, and again, I was at one of the meetings, I thought the 20,000 was just sort of the jumping off point, and then there was gonna be more money possibly down the road. I didn't know the 20,000 was the total cost.
It's not.
It's
That's
not,
just-
okay.
No,
Yeah.
because once he builds this model and
He's got
gets
it,
it
then
ready,
he's got to-
then it goes to the foundry.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously, you haven't planned it yet, but are you thinking the pedestal has to be replaced?
No,
as
no,
well?
no, that's
No.
an obelisk, that's from the cemetery, from the
Yeah.
old days.
So that
Yeah.
stays.
It's just, it's
It's
just a
okay.
just the
preliminary.
elephant
That's
itself.
the elephant on top.
Yeah,
And
But
what's,
what-
what's,
what's
the,
the-
what's wrong with the elephant at top?
Got a
Now?
crack in it.
It's gotta explain
Yeah,
that. a
there
little.
have been photos
And what's it made
generated.
out of? I just-
But if you looked at it, come up to the windows on the third floor, you will see there are cracks in the backs of the four legs. Then the cement is compromised too. You know, it's out there in all kinds of
So
weather.
it's cement.
It's
Cement is
basically
Coating
cement.
cement on it.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it's beginning to get compromised. But those legs, if you look at them, and those legs are attached. See, it came to light at one point after the individual had the medical emergency, and the car hit the bottom of the obelisk. And when they went up and realized that the feet were not really attached as well as they should have been. So Emil got it down and took it home and worked on it, because he's a craftsman, and was able to bring it back so that it could then be put back up. Yeah, now see, if you've seen the photos, yeah, it's bad,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That's it.
So, yeah, so we're convinced it needs replacement.
Yeah, okay.
It's, you know, how do we go about,
Yeah, I mean, can
And
we-
also material, I mean, you're selecting bronze, I mean, it could be cement again, though. I mean,
No,
if you go through the score.
my-
if
my
you're gonna do
feeling
it, let's
is-
do it right.
Yeah, I'm just,
You do it right, you do
I
it
mean-
right, and
Well, this is
bronze
just
will be
a-
here longer than all of us.
I don't mean to interrupt, but
Oh,
it's
that was
just,
from-
this is just, it was, there's no real plan. This was just an exploratory scoping conversation that, before we even came to you, said, you know, let's see what it would cost, what's the feasibility of it, and,
I think it's.
you know, and go from there.
And I'm gonna say
And
what
that's
we,
where it stands,
sort of the
and we
same
don't have-
conversation we just had about the
statute.
statues coming
Yeah,
into town.
Precisely.
If we could find out, to find out what the total
Yeah.
cost is.
Exactly.
Is it 20,000 or is it 100,000? I have
Right.
I have no idea what it costs to make
Right,
a bronze.
Right.
Now we'll build out the scope.
Yes,
We'll put together some idea of how to fundraise,
Sort of like an RFP, you know?
put
Right.
it
Yeah.
together to the
then
point where
come
it's
back.
fleshed out and there's more meat on it.
well, and again, keep in mind, depending upon what the cost is, could determine what sort of fundraising you're talking
Exactly.
about. Because if the
Right.
cost is not,
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I think we're all interested in replacing it.
Yeah,
no, without a doubt.
And, you know, we're talking about spending money on these obliques coming into town.
Right.
I mean, Old Bet is, that's the town. I mean, I got the little
That's why-
statue.
It's a
That's why you
national
come into
landmark.
Right.
So there's probably grant money out there that would be available. In fact,
Right.
I did a little preliminary research. There are some grant funds that could be available, but, you know, there's no plan. It was
Need a
just
plan
more
to
of
do
like,
the
I'm
grants.
going shopping,
Right.
how much is it gonna cost?
If we
You
could
know?
find, if we can get something like that.
Yeah.
Right.
But again, what I'm saying is that, you know, as a town board, we're looking at spending, we don't know how much yet, on entryway signs. Whereas Old Bet, to me, quite honestly, I know those signs are important, that's even more important than, I mean, that's a symbol of the town, it's a symbol of the schools, it's everything.
It's on
So,
everything, right.
you know, I also don't want to get mired down necessarily and
Right.
just saying it's got to be all fundraising.
Right, right.
Because who knows how long that could take.
Right.
So if we can get a cost estimate, then we can determine from our standpoint, okay,
Right.
you know, sort of what are we looking at, how long would it take?
Are there any options that would be available? Would the sculptor say, well, you could do this, this, this?
Wait.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, and we would look into
That's
that.
part of
But
the
as I
plan.
said, it was just, right, exactly,
no,
part
that's-
of the plan. And the society didn't want to.
You're just sort of getting the tenor of the
We're
board
trying to get a
also, I'm
fit- yeah,
assuming.
Exactly.
I think the
Right.
board is interested, obviously, given the cracks in it.
Yeah.
Is there an historic date coming forward that this could be in conjunction of that would make a nice,
Good idea.
Yeah,
Nice
we can
tie.
Check it out.
We can look into that. I know there are a
Old Bet's
number.
birthday
You
is
don't know
coming
off the top
up.
of your
Right, right, that's
Its
right.
anniversary.
You don't
or
have a
something.
date
know,
off the
we
top
have-
of your head, come on.
We have a number of,
You know
we have
everything.
This has been a
Elephant
day.
Appreciation
So-
Day, and then we have, World
Some-
Circus
something
Day.
that
Yeah,
would-
yeah.
This is a great, this is a good segue into one of the last successful committees that raised money for the bicentennial.
Right.
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that bicentennial, when that committee got together, they were selling plates and blankets
Right,
and it was a wonderful event and,
I got them all at home.
yeah, the community came,
You wanna
community
read something?
came out
My mom gave
and,
them to
I would imagine.
and supported it. So I would propose that we form Old Bet Replacement Committee.
Yeah, do it.
Ask for
Yes.
volunteers from the
Yes.
community to come
You get a lot
forward.
of people.
You will.
I
It'll be a lot of
feel
fun,
that.
too.
Give it,
I don't know. You have to see.
Well, I think where we are now
No,
is
you
it,
can't.
it came
You have work
from,
to do.
if you'd like, we'll go back
We
to
have to
the
go back to the
Historical
Historical
Society,
Society,
because that's
right.
where the idea germinated, and say that you're in favor of moving forward, you know, something, and if it's okay, then we'll come back to you with,
Yeah.
you know, some kind of a
Do we
plan.
know what date that was first done? Is there some, I'm
It's,
just
it's
thinking,
18, 26, 27.
Yeah.
This building was, by the time it got finished, 25. And then he put it out that they say in many of the records about 2 years afterwards.
See, there's a Doris I know.
26, 27.
Pulls
There
the
are
page
lots
we
out.
don't want to work till 27.
No,
that'd
no,
be
no, no.
200.
I know,
The
I know.
195th anniversary.
Right, well, there's a lot of, there are a lot of
193rd.
different, I mean, there are a lot of different opportunities
Right.
from that standpoint. There's, I mean, I don't want to go through them all here, but there,
Yeah.
you know, Elephant Appreciation Day, there's May is
Right.
National
I
Preservation Month.
appreciate my
Yeah,
elephant
yeah,
every day.
October is, you know, National Archives Month, so there are a lot of ways
And
to,
what-
to go.
What would be great with that elephant then, the current one would be an exhibit up in the,
Yeah, that, it would
up
not
in the
go
museum.
away. We
No,
would
no.
keep it and, you know, and have it on
Right now, we just have
display.
a trunk up there, a wooden trunk from the.
Yeah.
original.
Yes, we
Might be a
have the
little heavy
second
for the
trunk,
floor.
if you want to come see
Oh, is it,
that.
oh, 'cause is it heavy?
It's,
Yeah.
So is it,
Oh, the trunk. Oh.
is it too,
Interesting.
too soon to call for volunteers for this,
I think it's a little premature for
Yeah,
that.
we could-
Yeah, get the
Let us,
Yeah,
ducks in a
let's
row,
say
and then we'll
so.
put something
You have to
together.
be organized
Oh,
to
it's
start receiving a
Organized.
list of all the excited volunteers and.
right.
You'll get some, you'll get a
where you
bunch, I
go, how do
think.
you, how do you?
Something
you're
like
right.
this, people
You're
want to
right.
be involved with, you know?
Yeah.
No, we
Hey,
need a plan.
Right.
Yeah.
And
I'll
I'm sure,
volunteer when you
and
got a
I'm sure
plan.
the
Right.
businesses around here would also kind of support it.
I mean, look at the
Okay.
Chicos, I mean, they have the elephant painted inside and the bar upstairs, it's
Right.
all elephants, so, yeah.
We're confident the support will be there, we just have to be able to organize the.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, and.
Okay.
This town shows
I
that
like
they can, we can do that.
Yeah.
We organize well.
well,
Yeah, okay, I'm just got a question.
I was gonna say, no, you, to be commended for number one, identifying a major need. I mean, that's our beloved old vet out there. And, you know, taking the lead as the Historical Society and the historian, it's much appreciated. So, yeah, definitely, get back to us with what we can do to help. And when you're ready to form a committee, we'll
Come back.
put a solicitation out at a town board meeting and
Great.
put it
And
on
we
the
wanna-
website.
I want to thank Carol for showing us the picture, because,
Yeah.
you know,
Oh,
we
yeah.
haven't necessarily walked up to it and looked at it recently.
Right, right,
And so she just showed us the
Oh,
correct,
thank you.
why she's got that picture is beyond me, but
We've been doing it in this building.
I wasn't gonna go there, Tom, but
Sneaking around.
Carol likes elephants.
Well, the first time I saw the pictures, it was early in the morning, it was on my computer, and I could not believe it. You
yeah.
know, I mean,
Okay.
it needs to be looked at,
good.
Okay.
yeah.
Okay,
All
thank
right.
you.
Thank you for
very
coming.
much. Thank you.
Great.
Good evening.
All right.
Okay, and then our next agenda item is number 4, approve applying for yearly membership for ELA, which is the Environmental Leaders Learning Alliance, for $100, and NISAC, New York State Association of Conservation Commissions, at a fee of $75, allowing all town sanctioned committee boards to be eligible to participate in these organization offerings, per memo dated February 3rd from Denise Schremer, Secretary to the Zoning Board of Appeals. So we'll put that on the consensus agenda for next week.
Would Denise be able to notify all of us of those offerings? I would think some of them would be interesting to anyone
Yeah.
who works for the town.
I'm sure once we paid our dues, we'll get,
Is this a new thing? We're not in this?
I think we are.
We are? Because I haven't seen anything, that's why I asked. We know, Patty? We know?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, anyway,
If I had guessed, I'd say they're all new.
okay. Some of them might be interesting,
Yeah,
I would
no,
think.
I know.
So I would like to do
Especially
it.
for the Don's committee.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, number 5, authorize supervisor to execute the following. The proposal for purchase of a new Canon TX 3000 36-inch plotter scanner copier.
Is that the one down in that room?
We don't have one.
We don't have one. It says
But
replacement.
we
You said
need one.
replacement, though.
This is,
Well, no, he just says a proposal for purchase of a new cannon.
right,
It's-
He said
he
replacement,
said
but it's not.
replacement. It's not.
it's a purchase.
Okay.
Did I say replacement?
Yeah.
Okay, no. So this piece of equipment, we've been talking about for many years. A lot of departments will be using this, building, town clerk's office, I'm sure,
The
and,
town clerk's office is very happy we're finally getting one of these.
Where are you gonna locate it?
In the town clerk's office, no.
up
I
in,
find the spot.
up in engineering, there's a
It might be
little
yes,
wing.
Okay.
There's-
Oh, yeah.
There's a plotter there that's old and doesn't work.
Is this gonna be able to do larger type of
Yes.
Yeah.
thing, you know, so they can actually do?
Yeah.
36 inch.
All right, good.
Okay.
Okay, I'll
All
put that.
large format plans can be scanned.
That'd be
See,
good.
there's excitement in the townhouse.
Wow.
Piece of
Very
equipment.
excited.
Yeah.
I've been promised this for years.
See, but we're coming through.
You know, it's a
Maybe we'll
small
extend-
So we
town
can
when
start
the Xerox machine.
digitizing.
Yeah, exactly.
documents.
Small town news.
Okay, so the,
Get that in there, Carol, we're getting a new copier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Headlines. Headlines.
B is the
Large format.
renewal
Large
extension
format,
for
that's it.
EJ Plumbing and Heating Corporation. Contract allowing the town to reserve the right to extend a contract for up to 2 additional years with no more than a 2% increase per year dated January.
And we're happy with their service, the different departments?
Yeah, they've been very good to us. Matter of fact, I don't know if it's on this agenda.
No, they're a good company, I just,
With Ted.
Yeah, they've
Okay.
given us a proposal for putting in a water treatment for this building. What's happening is our relatively new boiler is suffering from the water conditions.
hard water, or?
Yeah, we have hard water and it's got a lot of saline in it. And so the recommendation of the building department and the boiler people is, yeah, make the investment, treat the water, and then, we'll be fine from here on out. So
Uh-huh.
that
Okay.
you'll be seeing very, very soon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we'll move that to the consensus agenda. And the C, tax collection upgrade proposal from Software Consulting Associates in the amount of $9,800 per email dated January 16th from Michelle McCurney, receiver of taxes.
Is that the one we talked about during budget time?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
It is.
So, and that is related to letter D, that the SCA tax billing online payments proposal for the town. So we purchase the upgrade and they throw in the online payment
All right.
for taxes. So
People will like that.
I think people will.
Should get better reporting out of this and a lot of work. Okay.
So we'll put that on the consensus. Okay, now E, the master municipal multimodal capital projects agreement.
Oh, yeah, that one?
Yeah, this is through Assemblyman Burns' office.
Right.
He was able to secure $25,000 for resurfacing of the Plumbrook Road from 138 to approximately 875 feet west of Route 138, per referral from Sir Tim, Director of Planning. So, this was a grant that we're getting from the Assemblyman's office, and that's where we decided to apply it. Put that on the consensus agenda.
Speaking of that,
Kevin.
these people were here talking about a grant maybe to help us if we do replace old debt, that they should, I don't know if they're aware of the grant writer, maybe
Oh, that's a
that
good
should be
idea.
in conjunction, or at least the grant writer should be aware of what they're looking for, might be helpful.
Right, the grant writer was just down here. I wonder if they had mentioned anything to her about that. But yeah, no, we definitely will. Okay, grant writer.
She might be in New York next week or 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I'm looking for-
But we won't be paying her travel expenses this time.
Not if she goes to the meeting, right?
Okay,
Yeah, sometimes she comes, sometimes 17th, right?
Number 6, authorize the solicitation of requests for proposals for a 2-year service contract for emergency and non-emergency electrical work per memo dated January 24th from Tom Tuma, Building Inspector. We'll put that on the consensus agenda
Okay.
as well.
Do we already, okay.
Okay, under personnel, we have vacancies on our affordable housing, partners of prevention, upcoming vacancies on architectural review, Parks and Rec. And I want to acknowledge the hiring of Scott Pyers as a full-time road maintainer at the Highway Department at an annual salary of $54,184. And if you want to read the matrix of how he gets paid up to his full salary, you can read it off the agenda. I do have an edit to make, that Nick DeVito is now the superintendent of highways.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So please make that correction for the official record.
Please give me a second.
Do I have a second?
Oh, second, sorry.
All in
Oh,
favor?
I thought you meant,
I thought you said
give me a
give me a-
second
give
so
me
I
a
can
second.
write it.
No.
Cross out
I
deputy.
thought you were being sarcastic.
I'm gonna cross out
He's
deputy.
our parliamentarian, so.
Yes.
I
So
thought
do
you
I
were,
have a second?
Second.
I did.
All in favor?
Aye.
aye.
So moved.
Give me a
I
second.
thought the expectation was to retype it. And he was gonna say, give me a second.
Give me a second.
Okay, and then authorize the hiring of Mr. Chris
Cattell.
Taldo as Somers Police Officer part-time to work no more than 20 hours per week at an hourly rate equivalent to 80% of the current police officer rate effective February 1, 2020. We've met this officer, and I think he'll be an excellent addition to our police force. And once again, he comes to us from, he's well-trained, retiring from New York City PD.
I'd like a second on that one.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
So moved.
Just gonna start seconding everything.
Give me a second.
Only ones we motion on. And then authorize reappointment of Mr. Ian Carnow to the Somers Library Board of Trustees to a 4-year term ending December 31st, 2023. Make a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved. Congratulations, Ian.
Okay.
Okay, any questions?
Ian is an architect who's been really valuable to them.
He did the master plan for them, right?
He did some, I'm not sure, but he's done some design work there,
Right.
you know, and so having him there, I think, is a good thing. He's
Good
helped.
thing. Very good. Okay, proposed consensus agenda, 1 through 4. Any questions on any of those? Number 2 is, we're gonna schedule a public hearing for the placing of no parking signs in the Avalon. As you recall, there's that park, and that we accepted the dedication of the roads. The issue up there now is people don't move their cars when it snows. And it's our responsibility as a town to plow around there, so we're gonna have no parking signs. But to do that, we have to have a public hearing,
Got it.
and that'll begin the process.
Just in time for spring.
Yeah. We'll be ready for next year.
There you go.
And then schedule public hearing for the amendments to the Office Business 100 District related to the proposed new private school. And then schedule a public hearing for amendments to the comprehensive plan of 2016 related to the proposed new private school. And with that, I have a couple of announcements. The Civilian Response to Active Shooter event by Worcester County Department of Public Safety will be held Tuesday, February 11th, 2020, at 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Worcester County Center, 198 Central Avenue, White Plains. This course will provide strategies, guidance, and proven plan for surviving active shooter event. And once again, this is for civilian response. So this is open to the public. You know, this is a necessary evil in this day and age. The town employees in our town have had training in this as well.
What day is it?
February
11th, Tuesday.
11th. It's just a Tuesday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. County Center. And then join the 2020 census team, be a census taker. Apply online at 2020census.us.gov/jobs. The 2020 census jobs provide great pay, flexible hours, weekly pay, paid training. For more information, you can call 1-855-JOB-2020. So those are the announcements for this evening.
Do we have they come back with us for any examples that the community's gonna get in the mail to start this process? I mean,
Yeah. Well, we will have a re-presentation from one of the census organizers for our area. Yeah, we're gonna have her come back and do that.
Yeah.
She can bring samples, so we know what to look for.
okay.
I would just say,
What I have, I forgot about this is the Northern Western Joint Waterworks
oh, yeah, that's right.
contract with Amalgamated Local 298. We discussed what the contract entails, and I just make a motion to approve the contract negotiation.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
So moved. Yes.
What I was just gonna jump in is, I'm having a meeting of the Risk Management Committee next Thursday, I think it's either before or after our other meeting. So if you guys have things that you might want us to look at, shoot myself and Bob an email, and just so we can have it, we can put it on the agenda to talk to our insurance reps about.
Okay.
All right?
Okay. Very good. One thing, just a closing comment, and I think I mentioned this
Shoot me an email, though,
At-
put the whole thing.
at another meeting, but, and Carol, this is for the Somers record. So I noticed in the North Salem record, they had an article about the NYSEG Public Service Commission settlement. So back in mid-December, the Public Service fined NYSEG $10 million. 1 million of it's gonna go to the Rochester piece of the energy provider, and the bulk of it, $9 million, will be down here in our section, in the NYSEG area. So that's all well and good. They're gonna hire X amount of more employees, be better prepared to respond, as we can all attest. I haven't seen NYSEG leave this town. Their tree contractors have been working steadily. But one of my main questions, and I haven't gotten an answer yet, so that's, part of that $9 million is going for their employees and infrastructure, but the public service settlement had something to say about benefiting the customer. I want to know how and when that's going to take, what form that's going to take. So, but Carol, I was just wondering, you know, we haven't seen that article in the Somers record.
I wrote something.
Did-
I don't-
I wrote a story about that exact thing.
Yeah, but, and it ran in North Salem, but it didn't run here.
I don't know,
Yeah, just a heads up, because I think.
Well, you were instrumental writing a letter to the commission as part of this whole process, and, you know, that's part of the leverage that, you know, that the community and the surrounding communities sort of generated to get them to capitulate, you know,
I agree.
Yeah.
to hear us. What about the rate increase? Have you, was that approved? They were talking about a 23% rate increase to pay for all the infrastructure and
No, I
stuff?
don't think they've met
They
yet.
haven't decided on.
They haven't decided on it yet, so but it was being
It's the same
opposed.
body that just fined them $10 million. I don't know if they're gonna turn around and grant them a
a $220 million.
Right. Well, we'll give you
Well.
an increase so you can pay for the,
Well, look, I
But I think
mean,
those smart meters, that's part of what they submitted. That would be a great thing for the
I think the
consumer.
smart meetings are great.
Yeah.
There are other, but they also want to pay for some of the things that, it's hard for us to just sort of swallow the fact that, you know, they should have been doing this all along, and
should
we've
have.
had to beat them silly.
They finally admit they
to
should have.
get it
Right.
done, and now in
Right.
turn, you know, we have to, you know, deal with
Stay
the
on top
rate
of them.
reinstatement
Rate
increases.
increases.
And I think we still stay on top of them. I mean, they've been doing better.
Yeah, we're gonna have another
Modernize the
meeting
network,
in
right?
April.
April.
We'll have another meeting in April, and we'll be able to assess how we did over the winter,
yeah.
Yeah.
which, knock on wood, you know,
Yeah, so
so
far.
far,
So, you know, I've seen them, they're practicing this resiliency program on the, I think it's a 419 circuit, which serves Heritage. And coming up and down Lovell Street, so they ground to Sky, they cleared all the trees.
Right.
Now they're coming through and putting taller, more resilient poles in.
Right.
They're gonna be doing the same thing on the other circuits, serving Heritage. You know, during our power outages, you know, one of my main priorities was getting the nursing home, schools, and Heritage Hills back up online. And, you know, it's taken a while, but they are addressing that, so,
but then they are, you know, what they say is accurate, because, you know, we're always astounded by how many of the outages are caused by cars hitting poles, and just a week ago,
yeah.
we had that very thing, we had a car hit a pole.
Cablevision went out, right?
Well, cable went out for a while, but the electricity went out as
part of it,
well. I think that was at least 2 of the last 3 instances had to do with cars hitting poles, so.
Well,
and
they
that
say that's almost 40%, I think they said.
I think it might
that
be
cars.
higher, but,
Right.
but yeah, so, and that one happened to hit a big one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
that-
there were maybe 781 people without power. That was, I think it happened around 4:30. By 8:30, electricity was back on. Cable, however, 6,000 people were impacted
Right.
because it was fiber optics, and a lot of people missed the Grammys that night.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Well,
All done after midnight.
Yeah,
Oh, boy.
YouTube it.
so,
but well, I mean, we've said this before. We push NYSEG, we complain about NYSEG, and certainly electricity is essential to modern life. Cable TV is not. But NYSEG makes Cablevision and Comcast look like, you know, Comcast and Cablevision make NYSEG look like a well-run, smooth
They
machine.
do.
I wouldn't smooth over that.
And we are so powerless, as we've said many times.
But
It's
when
just a
cable,
horrible thing.
but when cable goes out, phones go out and internet goes out, and so that.
Well, that's true, yes.
it's-
So they are
it's-
connected.
It's important.
Yes.
You know, just.
But they are not as responsive.
Not at
and-
all.
No, they're not
Because
staffed
no one
in
has
the
any
same
control
way.
over them. The
Yeah.
Public Service Commission doesn't, local government doesn't. It's a definite loophole in the law, and
So-
I just like to point that out every single chance I
Yeah,
can.
notice that.
all right, so you may want to join me at a meeting that Warren Lucas and myself will be having with Altice regarding their rate increases. I mean, every other day, you know, Comcast and Altice, we're changing your program.
Right, getting rid of a channel, or,
You save money, then all of a sudden, you're paying $20 more on your bill because of some other increase.
It's not the most, Washington's not doing much of anything, but the solution does come out of it. They have to amend that law from 1997, allows basically the free reign here.
Yeah. Okay, our next scheduled meeting is February 13th, 7 PM, right here. Any closing comments, issues, concerns?
I have none.
Okay. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
I
So moved. Good night, Somers.